Hello everyone and welcome to Walford Weekly, your EastEnders podcast where we will be discussing the stories that were aired on the BBC in the UK on the dates Monday the 15th to Thursday the 18th of March 2021. I am, as always, joined by the beautiful, the gorgeous, the lovely Rob.
Oh, hello, you got a new Rob joining you.
No, Rob, don't put yourself down. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You oiled your chair this week, have you?
Oh, I'm so sorry about that, listeners. Yes, I heard it all last night, clunking away like some sort of deformed robot, just like. So I'm gonna sit here like a statue all throughout the recording, so we don't have too much of that this week.
Oh, I'm sure it won't be a problem. I have a confession to make actually this week. I didn't tell you that. I was meant to tell you this before we were recording, but I've now moved on to my caffeine beverages. I've gone from the hot to the cold.
Do you have an iced coffee or something?
I have iced espresso, which I bought.
Espresso? Oh, good God.
Which I bought from the shop. I've had a couple of sips and I can feel it rushing through my veins right now.
Espresso is like literally the cocaine of coffee.
Well, this is I'm looking on the back of the bottle and it's got a kind of a gauge which shows you the caffeine strength, whereas mild, which is less than 10 milligrams per 100 millilitres, to strong, which is 50 to 100 millilitres, and it's just before the strong.
Right, great.
So
can't wait for that to kick in. Strap in and enjoy the ride, people. So, Alex, we have some news this week. So, as always, with some news, be aware that we are about to discuss some spoilers for upcoming plots and episodes, so don't say you haven't been warned. As we might have guessed, we do have a little Ballum wedding coming up soon, Alex, which I'm sure we're all looking forward to. I bought my hat.
Have you?
Yeah, bought my hat, polished my shoes.
What did you get off the wedding list, their John Lewis wedding list? I've just bought them a couple of towels. His and his.
I just got them a book voucher. You know, everyone could do with a book voucher these days, I think. Then maybe get a colouring book or The Hungry Caterpillar or something like that. But yes, big casting, ladies and gents. We are happy to announce that the wonderful, fantastic actress Gwen Taylor is going to be joining EastEnders as the newest member of the Highway family. She has been cast as Violet Highway, the quick-witted and blunt grandmother to Stuart and Callum. She's to turn up in Albert Square in the lead up to the wedding, despite not having spent much time with Halfway throughout her life. While her steely attitude might even intimidate Ben, her grandsons will find her as someone they can depend on because buried deep is a very warm heart. Yes! Yeah. Gwen Taylor is an amazing actress. I'm so excited.
Now, I'll be honest with I really don't know a lot about Gwen Taylor. I know that she's been in Heartbeat, that kind of 1960s TV drama.
Playing a Peggy.
Playing a Peggy.
She was called Peggy in Heartbeat.
Oh, right, okay. And she was in Coronation Street as well, you told me. She played the mother of a serial killer, or...?
No, she played the mother of a rapist.
Oh, right.
Yeah, as you do. But she was in the role of, I'm going to say it was probably one of the worst whodunit soaps ever done. Gwen Taylor was amazing in it, but it was so obvious it was it was her. She killed Frank Foster. She raped Carla Connor and tried to rape Maria, and it was just a bit of a bad egg, all in all. And yes, there was a big old whodunit as to who'd killed him, and it was revealed to be Gwen Taylor, and she gave a stunning performance in the reveal episode. She's been in all sorts of things, like she was in a sitcom called Ballum years ago, which she was the lead role in that. This is a absolutely fantastic signing, and I'm really, really excited for her to start. Looking at the promo pictures that have been released, she looks... she looks fun. I mean, she's got a big old red necklace. It's a bit like Theresa May's necklace. You know, like the big old necklaces that Theresa May always used to wear. I can't wait for her to join.
Because a lot of photos were leaked, weren't they, from where they've been recording or they've been filming the Ballum wedding. So that's something else which is a bit big news as well. We now know the date, or roughly know the date of when the wedding is, and it's obviously spring this year. It's going to probably be May time, maybe June even. But it's exciting, isn't it, to introduce a new character, especially from the Highway side. Do you think this is going to introduce more family members? Would his dad come back as well for the wedding, do you think?
They've been discussing the dad coming back this week, haven't they? I'll tell you what it does do now that this big wedding has been confirmed, a new character. It's thrown one of my predictions for the year out the water. I was 1,000,000,000% convinced that Callum was going to die by the end of the year. Just thought this big wedding, gunshot wedding, literally. I thought he was going to just get horrifically murdered, and Ben was going to be anguished and all of that kind of thing. So I'm actually really glad that that's not happening, because apparently big development is coming for the halfways, and I cannot wait to see it, because more stuff for Stuart this will be as well, which we always love.
God, I forget that's his grandmother as well. So there'd be obviously a story with Stuart and Rainey as well. I think, didn't they mention that there was going to be a story with Rainey and Stuart as well directed toward her? I forget what the press release had said, really, but I mean, there's so much potential. There's also Mick, of course, because Mick is friends with Stuart or in the past, and so perhaps she must have crossed paths with Mick before now. So, I mean, she's going into the soap already having a lot of ties, and it's nice to have an older character as well. It's nice to have an older character being introduced to the soap too.
Good old grandmother character. It's so long since we've had like a really strong older woman come into the show, isn't it? I literally can't remember the last one. I mean, maybe Pam was probably the last really sort of strong female character to come in. Essentially, that's the news. Gwen Taylor, wonderful actress, is joining the show, and it seems to be on a fairly regular basis as well. I think she might be coming in as a permanent character.
I think so. I think so too. Very exciting.
Very exciting. Talking of exciting, Alex, should we talk about this week?
I think we should. In fact, we must.
We must. That's why we're all here, after all.
Exactly. Or else we might as well just end the show right now. So the very first story we're going to talk about this week is this very sad news of Bronson's passing. He was the dog that was very much part of the Taylor family, and Bailey pretty much took it the worst. I thought, although Karen was hit quite hard by it too. There was remnants of remembering Chantel in this storyline. There was also Bailey has now lost to her mum, Bronson, and I suppose to a certain extent Chantel as well. So Bailey's had a lot of loss in her life too. And I think that was the underlying story really that they were trying to focus on this week with this Bronson's death.
2 weekends we were promised for Bronson's death. No, next episode.
I mean, he was on death's door on the end of last week, so I wasn't too surprised when you were saying last week, it's going to be a 2-weeker and this and that. I was a little bit like, oh really, is that going to happen? I'm not so sure. I wasn't as surprised as maybe you were that Bronson died the next time.
I never said trust me, I never said I was surprised. Bronson, bless him. I tell you what though, I really wonder if this dog's dead. We're talking about the diet that they were feeding this dog. This dog has gone through kebabs and apparently frozen burgers out the freezer, pizza, and we know the sort of pizzas that they have delivered in Albert Square with their undercooked pepperoni and all of this sort of thing. No wonder this dog's dead.
We certainly do. Yeah, because that was a moment where they were reminiscing that the history of Bronson was pretty much boiled down to the fact that he liked his food and he's particularly liked stealing. Yeah, I relate.
It was like hearing it was like having an epitaph about myself.
We remember Rob for stealing kebabs from people's plates.
Yeah, not even a lie. We meet a new dog this week. New character is Bingo the dog. He appears to be a bit of a stray on the streets. Seems to have become quite attached to Bailey. And she instantly becomes attached to Bingo. They are playing in the park and all this sort of thing. Karen, I thought, was weirdly insistent that no, we can't afford a dog. It's like, love, you just had a dog. Clearly you can afford a dog, and a bigger dog at that. This dog's only about the size. This dog is really small compared to Bronson.
I felt like it was more of an underlying problem. She said on the surface that it was because they couldn't afford to have another dog, but I think it was more the fact that she felt that having lost Bronson and how hard it was for her, and especially seeing Bailey again have this heartbreak, that she didn't really want it to happen again, and it was almost too easy a fix for Mitch to just kind of come strolling in with another dog and say, haha, here we go, Bingo, this is your new dog. And it was a really bad mistake, I think, by Mitch just to promise Bailey this dog after just it walked up to them. Like, you knew the first instinct for most people, I would have said, would be to try to find the original owner, because it was a grown-up dog, it wasn't a puppy or anything.
There was a really, really weird scene where Stuart and Mitch were just chasing this dog around the swing area. Yeah. I don't know why, because Rainey came out of nowhere at one point and just started scaring the dog and making it run away. I have no idea why she was doing this. The dog wasn't causing any problems. He wasn't trying to eat any of Rainey's food or anything. Bailey was just walking with him in the street, and Rainey just comes out of nowhere. It's like, shoo, go on, shoo. It's like, what are you doing, Rainey, you psychopath? And then that's how Stuart then becomes involved, and him and Mitch just do this really random comedy scene where they're kind of chasing the dog and going, it's all right, you've got this, you've got the dog. dog. You got the dog. And like slowly going to, it was weird.
Did it not give you memories of the scene when Mick and Stuart were running around the playground trying to catch the paedophile 2-3 years ago? Did it not give you that kind of vibe? It really did for me. I felt like I was watching... I don't know. I don't know
my brain immediately. No.
I just maybe it's because in my head I was thinking to myself, God, 3 years ago Stuart was trying to actively kill Mick and Linda, and trying to sleep with Linda, and was trying to catch paedophiles. And now I'm watching him in this scene where he's running around the park trying to catch a dog in a very jovial sense, with Rainey in the background cheering them on.
Yeah, it's such a lovable oaf these days, isn't it?
He really is a completely different character.
It's quite mad.
I've been on board with it for Stuart the whole time because I love the actor, and I loved Stuart when he was first introduced. He was like the best thing about EastEnders for a long time. And I'm glad that they've kind of softened him and toned him down. He still has that edge though. But it was just, when I was watching that scene of him running around trying to catch the dog, the whole time I just kept thinking to myself, God, I remember him chasing paedophiles around this very same park a few years ago.
I see what you mean. Yeah, it's a big leap. Let's be honest. We've gone on quite the journey with Stuart. Is Bailey due some more heartbreak? Because Mitch sees a poster advertising a lost dog, which looks suspiciously like Bingo, and then does that whole thing where like he takes the poster off the wall and then goes home with it, and then it's kind of like holding it and reading it, and then Karen comes in and decides, do you know what? Nah, we'll keep the dog. It's okay. You were right. I was wrong.
Yeah.
And then Mitch decides, and then Mitch screws up the poster and throws it in the bin.
Yeah.
Now,
for no one to ever find again.
No one ever looks in bins in EastEnders, do they?
Well, especially Bailey, does. Bailey recycles.
That's true.
She was the one who found Sharon's pregnancy test and all that stuff, wasn't she?
That's true. Yeah? That's true. So yeah, Bailey's going to take one look in the bin and go, well, this is paper, Dad. Around here, we're getting a new wheelie bin soon.
What colour's the bin for you?
It's going to be purple, apparently.
Purple?
Yeah, honest to God, the new wheelie bins we keep getting, it's soon going to, when they're all lined up, it's going to start looking like the LGBT flag soon. I can't wait. Yeah, maybe Bailey will find this, but even if she doesn't look in the bin for it, there's going to be other posters around Walford. If this owner has gone to the trouble of putting posters up to say, my dog is missing, so this isn't going to last for a secret for long, is it?
No, I don't think it will at all. It'll be a bit like when Abby started putting post-it notes around the square to remind people what to do, because she was getting a bit ticked off because people were eating her yogurt from the fridge. I think this person is going to clearly have more than one poster in the Suki Mart just to advertise that their dog was missing, especially if they love the dog. I'm wondering if it's going to be, it reminds me of the story how Robbie had adopted Wellard, which was that, Wellard kept following him around, but then the original owner came around and said, that's my dog, I want it back. And Robbie gave it back, but then realised that the owner was abusing the dog. And that's kind of like a go around for then Mitch can rightfully keep the dog because the original owner is a little bit nasty and so doesn't deserve to have a dog in the first place. Because I think it would be really mean to do this to Bailey again, especially again. Mitch shouldn't have never have given the promise that she can keep the dog in the first place. And I think Karen, even though it was very strange the way she was going around it, was right to say to Mitch, you shouldn't promise these things to a little girl without knowing that she can have it or asking me permission first. So I think Mitch made a bit of a mistake. And also another thing is, what did Mitch do with the money or the bracelet that Chelsea gave him this week? Because Chelsea gave him a bracelet, didn't she? To say this will pay for the vet bill.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought it had gone on. I thought he'd sorted. I got the impression that he'd sorted the vet bills with the money from the bracelet that Chelsea had given him.
Oh right, because how much does it cost?
And that's why they were suddenly able. I don't know, but then I assume that I'm sure he said something along the lines of no, the vet bills are sorted, which I assumed was from the money from Chelsea's bracelet.
Okay, I thought. Okay, I must have missed that.
Unless it's literally just getting to the point now where I'm filling in plot holes myself and assuming that happened.
Yeah, that's also very feasible. I just wondered if maybe Mitch kept the bracelet to himself again, as it could be another plot point that he pays off the owner to keep Bingo, the dog. I'm just trying to think of ways where they'll keep the dog, because they have to have a dog on the show, because there is no other dog. Dave the cat's gone missing. Lady Di, I don't.
Lady Di. Is Lady Di still alive, the dog?
Well, she can't be, because they live in that flat, which will soon be Sharon's flat. More on that later. And I can't believe that you never see Lady Di anymore. So there's no animals. And we said last week, didn't we? This is like Blue Peter pets. You have to have at least one animal on the square. So I hope we do keep Bingo. And Bingo looks like a right laugh. I like Bingo already.
Yeah, we like Bingo. Yeah. He's got personality, hasn't he?
Yeah, more than some on that show. So.
More than some.
But I like Bingo to stay. Bingo's my new favourite character this year so far.
Top tier, Julia's theme.
Oh yeah, look out for my 2021 tier list of characters.
Can't wait for that.
What else happened this week was the conclusion, the end. It was all wrapped up in a nice parcel. Nice enough for us anyway, that Lucas has been arrested for the drug smuggling, and so has Caleb, Kevin, whatever you want to call him, the general. And
the general.
That is the end of it. No more.
Yeah. Although, I will say, annoyingly, even though I've been moaning, oh God, I wish the story would finish. God, I wish the story would finish. I thought the ending was quite rushed. I mean, the ending wasn't the worst it could have been. I thought it was quite nice to have the scenes filmed in the airport. That looked really good and genuine and all that sort of thing.
Can I just say MVP? Well, MVP, the one moment I loved about the whole story, the whole 3-month story arc that we've had to ordeal, is that the security man who waved Chelsea in past the gate.
It wasn't even a wave, was it? It was more of one of those sort of like gentle caresses with his hand from a distance. It was like, come to me.
He was like tickling a horse's chin while nodding at it. You know what I mean? It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful moment. And he did it twice as well. Both times.
He liked doing that.
He really
the actor was like, I've got a thing here. I'm going to keep doing this.
I absolutely loved the airport security. They were spot on. And, just brilliant. But yeah, so Lucas at the beginning of the week kept going on and on and on that Chelsea has to learn a lesson, and Chelsea and Denise to an extent thought that meant that she had to carry the drugs past security, so it was a little bit sweaty, a little bit worried when the alarms went off and she had her suitcase checked. But then as soon as they opened it and you found out there was nothing in it, Lucas was like, it's a fair cop, I've got drugs in my bag, arrest me. He just admitted to it, didn't he? And he was just like that, which is a bit suspicious. If I was airport security, that you were like,
why are you telling us this?
I know, it was a bit strange. So the whole idea was that then Chelsea would see that Lucas had done the right thing and that she can now move on with her life because he's now saved her from Caleb. Is that right? Am I right in saying that? Is that the moral of the story?
Let's go for yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, at least this storyline has been consistent. Mad from beginning to end. Absolute madness.
It is what it is.
It was what it was, wasn't it, Alex? I think, and also there was a great scene. Well, I say great. There was a scene where there was a scene where Chelsea goes to meet Caleb, the general, Kevin, outside their house. So this guy's got like police and everything looking for him, and he goes, I know where I'll go, where no one will find me. I'll go stand in the alleyway outside the girl's house that I'm trying to harass, who lives with a policeman. That's a great idea. And then looks shocked and surprised when he's suddenly rugby tackled to the ground by this policeman who literally comes out of nowhere and just sort of like, he lands on the ground, and then Caleb is arrested.
A plainclothes policeman as well. Because I bet at first Ben and I thought we were watching it, and we both thought it was a citizen's arrest. We thought it was just some random guy.
Just a random passerby.
He stood outside the public toilet, like waiting for like some guy to go by. Maybe. He's like, hello. He looks a bit of all right. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt. He looks like a drug dealer. I'll arrest him.
Take him down. Yeah, so then Caleb gets arrested, and then, I don't know what happened to him after that, but Lucas, having been arrested for the drugs, ends up getting beaten up in prison from Caleb's dudes or whatever. And the episode on Tuesday ends with like just the sound of him being beaten up, which was lovely.
But you saw the shadow as well, the marionette, the puppet show that was Lucas being beaten. Yeah,
Doosh.
They didn't need the duff-duffs; they just used the punching sounds.
No, there's the sound of Lucas's head being hit. And so then the next time that we see Lucas, he's all battered and bruised. Chelsea goes to see him. She says to him, thank you for everything you've done. Am I ever going to see you again? And Lucas is like, well, my contract's up this time, so you probably won't. Don't come to see me or anything like that. If you do, don't bring the cameraman. And then Lucas goes off, and that's the end of Lucas's little tenure back in prison, having given Chelsea life lesson that she needed, and Chelsea will probably be staying on the square.
Well, you say that Chelsea will be staying on the square because, and this had better be all worth it, because I swear, if this comes to fruition, I will.
If this were all for nothing, I know. I swear to God.
I will scream. The actress had an interview recently who plays Chelsea, and she said it would be really nice to be on the show for a little bit longer.
No, I'm not having this.
No.
If she leaves after that, I will storm onto that set and be like, get yourself back here now and make that worth it. I'm not having you just going off now and subjecting us to that story for no reason whatsoever.
I wonder what if she meant that it's because she's under like a 6-month contract or something like that. But I mean, honestly, if in a couple of months' time, because Jack and Denise are getting married now, because Jack proposed to Denise. If on their wedding day, Chelsea says, well, thanks for that. That was really lovely. I'm going to go off now and party in Ibiza or just something mad like that. I swear to God, that's 3 months I'll never get back from my life of watching this blooming storyline unfold.
The most I can say is it's given us a laugh.
Has it?
Well, I've laughed a lot.
I cried a lot.
I mean, all I can say is, all the actors involved in this story were brilliant. Don Gillette, always good, even though I do struggle whenever he comes back, because it's kind of like, why are you back? There's no... See, for me, I know we disagree slightly on this, because you quite like the idea of like Lucas having almost this sideshow Bob kind of characterization, don't you, where he kind of comes back and makes Denise's life hell for a little bit and then goes away again.
Yeah, but he didn't really do it this time, did he? He kind of was nice and friendly.
Well... if anything, he was trying to help things out.
He was trying to help them. It was like the episode of the Sideshow Bob when he was actually trying to help Bart and Lisa and ended up getting arrested anyway. It was with his brother, wasn't it, when they built the dam?
I mean, the thing is, for me, I just don't like. They were having these moments where like Lucas would see Ruby in the streets and look like he wanted to kill her, and like what was the slow motion thing for? Like, what did that achieve? What was that supposed to demonstrate? Lucas, I was expecting Lucas to at least kill somebody. I thought the whole point of this was that Lucas was going to like maybe kill Caleb or like snap and try and kill Denise one last time or anything to sort of give reason as to why any of this has happened.
I didn't think he was coming back to kill anyone. I kind of believed he had come back for basically kidnap Chelsea or something along those lines, or basically do something to Chelsea to make Denise kind of worried for a little bit, because the publicity shots they did over Christmas, where you saw Denise playing with Raymond at the Christmas tree, and you saw Lucas kind of watching over like a dark shadow on him,
like Judas.
Yeah, it's like had nothing to do with that photograph. Like that publicity shot had nothing to do with the story whatsoever.
Nothing to do with Raymond whatsoever.
No, what it should have been is him basically at a conveyor belt with a suitcase in his hand.
Kind of, a Bible in his hand, quoting to the security guard, making the security guard pray at the altar.
Well, with the security guard stroking the horse's chin and nodding at him. That should have been the publicity shot. So what I don't know, it was just so random. It was like they probably trolled us. They trolled us into thinking
such a mad story.
Well, we all thought, okay, fine, Lucas coming back, a bit silly. He really wouldn't have been released from prison. I put that on the shelf. I kind of ignored that because I love the character of Lucas anyway. But no, it was silly. It was silly from beginning to end, and I'm sorry. I really disliked the story. The only good thing, as we've said,
I'm glad it's over.
I'm glad it's over, and the only good thing, 2 good things have come out of it, and that is that I quite liked the Jack and Denise relationship even more now, and I'm really pleased that they've got a fantastic actress playing Chelsea, because whenever she's on screen, it really shines, and she really is the spit of her on-screen mum, Denise. It's fantastic. Really good casting.
Yeah, we've got a great new actress playing Chelsea, who, I mean, there's no reason for her to go anywhere, because let's be honest, she's made this story as convincing as it can be. Not everyone can do that. So keep her around. We like new Chelsea a lot, and fine, go, and I can well imagine Chelsea's going to continue to make Denise's life some kind of nightmare. Everything will be absolutely fine, but just this story was not the way.
No, it wasn't.
But hey, it's done, and altogether now, one last time, it was what it was.
Rob, it's time for a game, and I'm going to drop on you what the game is after the jingle. So, Rob, think back to the 80s when...
Oh, God, yeah, I remember them well.
Yeah. There was a really good game with hexagonal pieces.
We're never playing Blockbusters.
We're playing, for legal reasons, Rob, we are playing SquareBusters.
Ah!
Now, Rob, I am about to send you the game board.
Ooh, okay.
Right. So
it's the gold run as well.
It is the gold run. So, Rob, you are playing...
haven't you done well?
So, Rob, you are playing a gold run based on the popular TV game show Blockbusters. Anyone who's watching this on YouTube, the board will actually be on your screen right now. But if you're listening to this on Podbean or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can find the board now on our Twitter or Instagram. Just search @WalfordWeekly, and it'll be on there. I'm going to post it at the same time as we release the episode, so it should be quite high up on our timeline.
I'm going to say this now, Alex. You've raised the bar here for games. I've got to get my thinking cap on for next week to try and top this, but okay.
To be fair, Rob, this is the first time in a long time I've actually done it myself and not relied on an email from someone else.
Yeah,
I thought
same.
I thought I'd give it the time and it deserved. So,
She's ace.
Let me go through the rules for anyone who's not familiar with Blockbusters. Starting from the left-hand side, Rob must take a path across the game board. Each hexagon contains a set of letters, which are the initials to the answer for the clue I will give him. If Rob gets the answer correct, he can choose an adjacent hexagon moving across the board. But if he passes, that space becomes a block, and Rob must choose a path around it. Rob can take as many guesses as he likes, and he is only eliminated from the clue once he says pass. Rob, you have 75 seconds to complete the run.
Ooh.
Would you place yourself on the hotspot, please?
Oh my God, this is so exciting.
This is it, here we go. So, Rob, you must link gold to gold in 75 seconds or less. Tell me where you want to start on your left-hand side, and I will start the clock.
Okay. PJ.
Bianca wore a silver, while Tiff wears a gold one of these.
Buffer jacket.
Correct.
BS.
Location of the market off Albert Square.
Bridge Street.
Correct.
Wes. WES.
The destination name for the train station at Underground on George Street.
Walford East Station.
Correct.
Oh, JSATH.
Creators of EastEnders.
Julia Smith and Tony Holland.
Correct.
KIAS.
Name of the 3 original characters on the show.
Oh God. Ian and Sharon. What's the K? Kathy, Ian and Sharon.
That's Blockbusters!
Having so much fun.
Well done. And what's even better, Rob, is that you did it without any passes. So I have now, all I have to do is do 5 new clues and I can play the same game again another week.
Amazing.
Well done.
I was going to say, are you? Oh, that was so much fun. I see. This is the thing about me, right? I love this sort of thing. I go mad for this sort of thing. Done, Alex. That was a great game.
Yes. Well, if you guys have any games you'd like us to play, or have any clues that I could use to fill in those squares on the Blockbuster board, or those hexagons on the Blockbuster board, or sorry, the SquareBusters board. God.
Yeah, SquareBusters.
Just send us an email. If you want to send me an email, alexwalfordweekly@gmail.com or robwalfordweekly@gmail.com to get in touch to Rob. And that was SquareBusters. Right, so well done, Rob. But onwards and upwards.
Oh, loved it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'm really looking forward to playing that again with you. I really am. Right, so
can't wait.
Next story then is the Panasar story where Ash had her... What was it called? Her
disciplinary investigation.
Yeah, her disciplinary. One or the other. And Peter pretty much ruined it, or we all thought Peter had ruined it from the beginning by going in there and saying it was all my fault because I told her to do it.
That was going to work, wasn't it?
Smooth, Peter, smooth. And so we all had a moment there where we thought, finally, Ash has seen that Peter isn't right for her, but no. Because Suki stepped in and sorted out the situation herself. A few threats here and there to the head of the hospital.
I have no doubt whatsoever that Suki could single-handedly bring down the NHS. Not an issue with that whatsoever. Fully believe it.
Have you noticed that the whole kind of story with the Panasars for the last couple of weeks has been the Panasars' name, what power they have within Walford or within London? And again, it was brought up again this week when Suki said, I was the one who fixed the problem for you because I went to see Miss Radkin and I told her, you've messed with me, you messed with my family, and the Panasars will not tolerate it. And Ash straight away said, well, no, you have no power. So what do you really think you've realistically done to help me? Nothing at all. And that really hurt Suki, didn't it? To kind of think that was, the case.
We're getting layers on Suki. I'm so excited.
Oh, I know, it's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, Balvin the Soper was amazing this week. Like, it's really nice to see, like, this sort of icy exterior of Suki slowly starting to melt. I never want us to lose that sort of iconic eyebrow smirk that she does. Never want us to lose that. But, I've been wanting this for ages, to sort of really start to chip away at Suki and work out why she is the way she is. And I think we're slowly starting to get there. There's clearly reasons as to why she treats her family the way she does and why she is so sort of initially villainous. And yeah, it's been really interesting to sort of see her this week. Her relationship with Ash is so complex, I think, isn't it? Like, it's, I think Kheerat is very much sort of prepared to just sort of do what Mum says, and is there as sort of, he's almost there as Suki's bodyguard in some ways, isn't he? Like, he will sit there and just sort of glare disapprovingly at Ash. All I was going to say, there was a really mad scene this week. When Suki was on her way to the hospital and Peter comes running across the square. Why was that? What was the point in that car that nearly ran him over?
Yeah, I know.
What was that about?
I think it was almost, because there's a few things. Let's talk about Peter really quickly in the kind of context of, again, although it was nice to see Suki's character being, as you said, layers were added to her this week. I think we were meant to see layers added to Peter this week. There was a few instances. One where he got kind of lost his temper with the guy in the car, even though it was clearly his own fault for running in front of it. And the second one, when he said, like, I'm a good dad. I get in touch with my children at least once a week. And it's like, slow applause happened in our house this week when he said that. It's like, oh, well done, Peter. Here's your reward for calling your... He probably only does it for like 10 minutes. It's like, so how are things? Yeah. All right. Is the house burnt down again? No.
Yeah. Have you found a house to live in yet? Yeah. Like, he's awful. But he's trying... I mean, he clearly thinks that he has some way of really getting to Suki. He's got no idea. No. And the thing is, I was expecting Suki to sort of reveal the whole her and Peter thing this week, but she didn't. I wonder where that is going to go, because clearly Ash and Peter are now an item. That seems to be a thing now, because Suki keeps walking in when Suki keeps walking in whenever they try and have sex,
and he covers his nipples as well, which is another thing that annoyed me as well. I
think that's called a running gag, Alex.
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought gags were meant to be funny.
So, bitch. So want to know where this is going, and I want this to sort of run, because I really find the Panesards such a fascinating family. They've clearly got layers to them. They've clearly got reasons as to why they are as a whole unit the way they are, and it seems that we're finally starting to explore that now. And it's not just about reputation, is it? Clearly this is Suki wanting to not only have the Panesar name known everywhere, but she wants to be known as the most powerful one in her family as well.
Oh yeah.
Now, why is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Why is that?
She's got this kind of power complex, and as soon as Ash said, you don't put yourself above your station because you really aren't there right now. That really hurt Suki. That really, and I think coming from her own daughter as well, and especially. There was a real connection with Ash and Suki this week, and you really felt it. And especially there was scenes also with Kheerat this week as well, and all together it was really nice. It was such a shame that Vinny wasn't involved. I felt, and it feels like for me that they're deliberately pushing Vinny out of kind of like the family unit, and I'm worried where that could head, because that kind of happened with Jax, and we all know where that headed. And so it's interesting to me that that the whole Panesar family story this week was very much geared around Kheerat, Ash, and Suki, and that interested me, and I wondered why. Quickly to go back on what you were saying about the Peter and Suki thing as well, I wonder if Suki is using it as a threat toward Peter, but at the same time knows that it could almost be just as damaging for her as it would be for Peter if she was to tell Ash that information that she had slept with Peter.
Yeah, maybe. It's sort of... Because the thing is, you've got to work out why Suki did that in the first place. Why did she? Because I think the scene in general when she and Peter first had that thing. You want to see how well I use my mouth? That iconic scene. there's got to be a reason that she did that, because I think she would have known full well that the second she said that to Peter, she was going to get what she wanted, because I think she could read Peter like a book.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything too complex to it. I genuinely just believe that Suki had a date, didn't get the result that she wanted, was a bit horny and just wanted to sleep with someone, and she saw Peter as a guy to sleep with. I don't because she always puts down, she always says, oh, a bill. She always says, oh, that's a bill, as if like a bill is a dirty word. So I think she almost feels a little bit damaged that she also had slept with Peter Bill, because it was almost like she
the blot on her own reputation.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like you're saying with the relationship between Suki and Ash. Like there were some really nice scenes between them this week. Like when she was turning around to Ash and saying how proud she was of her. Like it was a moment that we'd not seen between them before, because I think we've seen nothing really but confrontation between Suki and Ash since Ash came into it, and this is the first time that we've actually seen something resembling tenderness between them.
Yeah.
So I think that was maybe that was some way of Suki lowering her guard somewhat, and then when Ash throws it all back in her face, when she has gone and used this name that she's so proud of, and used her reputation to get what she wanted for her daughter, to then have it all thrown back in her face and being told all of that is useless. That's what cuts Suki deep, because they've said horrible things to each other in the past, and it seemed to mainly be water off a duck's back, but this was the thing that got to her. This was the thing that made her cry. This was the line that was crossed with Ash, and I think there was a little bit of Ash that knew that she'd crossed that line as well, because when Suki stormed out of the pub, you could see there was a little bit of regret in Ash's face. A little bit. Not much, but a little bit. I can't wait to see where this is going to go.
Yeah. I just love the love-hate relationship between Suki and Ash. And it's really been shown front centre now. There's always been the undertones, where especially when Ash was with Kheerat, she every now and then kept saying, she didn't want anything to do with the family. She's been pulled back into the family bit by bit by bit by bit. She's always kind of taken a step back. So she takes 2 steps forward and then a step back each time. This time she took a real, she really extracted herself away from it this time. And was it unfair as Ash to kind of not thank her mum? Because really Suki did save her bacon there. Let's be honest. So Suki did that for her. And I feel it was a little unfair for Ash to say, oh, you only did it for yourself. Because I don't think she did. I really don't. And I kind of, I actually took, as wrong or rightly, Suki's side on this, because I thought that Suki did it because she knew that Peter was trouble, that Peter really would do nothing to kind of better Ash in any way or form, which we can all see. And, she saved Ash's career at the end of the day.
She did, because until Suki walked into that hospital, Ash was getting sacked.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. No two ways about it at all. She gave when she was off duty and under the influence of alcohol, she gave a patient morphine. There is no way out of that. You are not going to be a nurse anymore after you do something like that. And Suki, Suki really shouldn't have been able to to threaten a head nurse like that, but and it shouldn't have made a difference, but it did. So Suki basically saved Ash's career. Yeah, there was no way. I mean, is Ash really stupid enough to think that she went in there and did all that herself? Is she really dumb enough to think that, I did this, I saved myself, my mum had no involvement in this whatsoever, she didn't help. In fact, if anything, she made it worse. Like, is she that dumb? Really?
Well, I don't know. I think she almost saw what she wanted to see, didn't she? And I guess she didn't suspect that her mum would have done something like that. Maybe that's the reason why she lashed out on her mum in that way. I'm not sure. I mean, Suki for health minister, I'd like to put that forward straight away.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She can't do anything. She can't do anything worse.
No, not worse than the one we currently got. Absolutely not.
No.
So going forward, do you think Suki is going to be more determined now to get her name out there, to make the Panasar name a powerful powerhouse that she feels like it should be right now, or do you think she's going to try more to tear Ash and Peter away? What do you think her path is from now?
I mean, I think that Peter's time with Ash is numbered, because if Suki doesn't want this to happen, then this ain't happening. She didn't like Habiba, so guess what? Jazz gets sent to prison. It's that level of it. It's that level of extreme. Yeah, I think the reputation and name within the Square thing, and her position within her family, it's kind of weird to see, is there much difference between them? Because at the end of the day, it's all about reputation, and it's all about respect, and it's all about how she's seen, whether that be from, everybody on the Square, or whether that's how she's seen by her own daughter. It's all about appearance, I think, with Suki to an extent. And when that's threatened, or when that's even kind of head-on confronted, like Ash did today, then Suki's got nowhere to go. I fully expected Suki to return with some cutting remark or just to end Ash there and then, and she didn't, because that is clearly her Achilles heel. So I think it's going to be. I think Suki's role is now going to be trying to build up the Panasar name, and we're probably going to go back to the Mitchell and Panasar thing at some point soon, I imagine, as well. But I think her initial problem is trying to sort out her position within the family, because I think what she's also worried about is the fact that if Ash can do that, then what's stopping the other kids from doing it?
True. I mean, yeah, because I'm sure Jags is probably contemplating it while he sits in prison.
I feel he might be, yeah.
Yeah. And this is why I say it felt a bit weird that Vinny wasn't involved this week. It felt like he was watching from the outside in. And, we had that story, was it last week or the week before, where he was being chased for the duffel bag of money when the mad Stas was going to shoot the gas canister. And then he got really berated by Kheerat for, in his eyes, getting it wrong. As you say, Kheerat is very much, he's not fallen too far from his mother's tree, as it were. Him and Suki are very similar. I mean, it was kind of Kheerat that kind of wound Suki up to have a go at Ash after she got the job back by saying, it's like she's not even learnt yet. She's not even learnt the lesson yet. And so Kheerat almost knows how to push the buttons, doesn't he, for his own mother?
Yeah. But then we're constantly being told that Suki and Ash are really similar as well. So, how much, because I still think there's a lot we haven't learnt about Ash yet, because we've still got this whole kind of mystery of, Suki's brought it up a couple of times about this child that's out there somewhere, and we don't really know the story behind that yet. I think there's a lot more to uncover from the Panasars, and bring it on, I say.
Yeah, and
wait, because I love them so much as a unit. They are a great family.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, this was a great story this week, and it felt believable and it felt good. And as I said, as soon as they had that one scene in the Vic with Ash, and it almost built Ash up a little bit too, and it really built Suki. It actually made Suki feel rounded at that point. I thought, here we are. She's always been this. She's been a great character, but she's almost been a little bit 2D, and now she's starting to really fill in those gaps. And this is it. I'm on board now. I'm ready for that. So very
Queen's
excited.
like an onion.
She is Queen Onion. She is
Queen Onion. She's got layers.
Talking of queens, one queen went to two queens went to a funeral.
Two queens. This was nuts.
Oh, I know. And again, lovely moment. Earlier on the show when I said the running around the playground reminded me of Stuart when he went pedo hunting. The scene with Kathy and Sharon's brother Zack when they were running around the car park and he was running around the pub in the funeral reminded me a bit of the scene when Gavin was chasing Kathy and Sharon around the hotel.
Yeah, half expected someone to land on Sharon's car like they did last time. So yes, big reveal this week is that Gavin Sullivan, he dead. He has died. Kathy gets a phone call from Sally. Who did we meet Sally last time? I can't remember.
No, I don't think
because
so.
I know that because it was Margaret, wasn't it? I thought Margaret his sister, was the one that got killed by landing on Sharon's car.
Yes.
Margaret, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I've got memories of that scene. It was so brilliant.
It was great. It was fantastic.
It was so fun. Sally's Gavin's sister rings Kathy this week to tell the news that Gavin is dead. He's and Kathy's immediate response is to go and see Sharon, which I can understand.
Yeah.
And to tell her that her real father has died. Now, Sharon initially is kind of like, not interested, hope he rots in hell. The only reason I'd go to that funeral was to make sure that he's in the ground. So Sharon initially, very cold, very calculated. And then, bless Callum, king of perspective.
Yeah.
We get Callum sitting there talking, because Callum's busy trying to work out the wedding list for... Oh, I do briefly want to discuss this wedding list that Callum has got.
Certainly.
You know who's on that wedding list? You know who's on that wedding list, Alex? Pam and Les are on that wedding list.
I spotted it. I did spot it. I know.
Please give us some Coca stuff.
Quickly talking about the wedding then, if we're going to talk Ballum's wedding.
Yeah.
I don't think... Everyone's really worried about this socially distancing happening. And I don't think that the writers or the producers would be silly enough not to kind of create a bubble. So I don't think people should be that worried about that kind of situation. I do think they're going to create a bubble between, at the very least, Callum and Ben. But I would imagine they'll do it with other characters too. So you know, like they did with the Mick storyline over Christmas and New Year's, where they had, you know, so they could do those really realistic, very fiery, violent scenes.
They will do something where we can actually see Callum and Ben kiss. I'm sure of it. I mean, to be fair, any other soap I would have been, because you know, I've seen a wedding on Coronation Street that's been done when this social distancing was in place, and my God, it looked awful.
It did.
EastEnders is the only soap I have zero concerns about with this sort of thing, because they've shown right from when they've come back that they are completely all over this. I mean, to be fair, weddings take an age to film anyway, don't they? You know, there's a fairly few stars over the years that turn around and say, yeah, weddings and funerals are a nightmare because they just take so long. So I imagine trying to film a wedding under these circumstances is probably going to. I hope they're filming now, and they'll just about get it ready to go out in May.
Yeah, I really do think that Ballum fans should kind of just don't be as concerned as I think you should feel like. And I do get it, because I've read a few tweets that people have said that, you know, it's an LGBT wedding. It's the first really of its kind on EastEnders. It should be shown respect. But I'm not as worried, I feel, because I don't think they'll be silly enough. Their filming techniques are fantastic, and I do think that they'll put them in a bubble of some sort. I really do. Yeah. But anyway, this isn't about their wedding. we'll talk about that in a couple of months.
Don't worry, that podcast is coming. So anyway, the whole point of that was Callum basically gives Sharon some perspective about fathers, because he's worrying about inviting Jono to the wedding, isn't he? And Sharon's kind of like, well, maybe Callum's right, because Callum always is.
Of course he is.
And decides to go to the funeral. The beret of grief comes out again, which we always love to see.
I love Kathy and Sharon's standard funeral outfits. I mean,
I know, they just look so iconic. I love them.
They just need a beam of light behind them as they leave the door. You know what I mean? It's just perfect. Beautiful.
I mean, you know, I'm almost happy for anybody to die in EastEnders, as long as we get those two in their funeral outfits. It makes it okay.
If they did a funeral for Bronson, I would have been happy to see Kathy and Sharon, you know,
absolutely
don the outfits one more time.
Love it. So yeah, they go to this funeral. Quite quickly, they come across a guy there who clearly was no fan of Gavin. You know, he's busy making a speech, a really quite an abusive speech about Gavin, which immediately catches Sharon's eye because she doesn't want to be there for the most part. And then she sees Zack leaning against the bar and is like, well, maybe I'll get a drink.
Yeah, she was. And you have to say, I'm sorry, but she was giving the kind of like love eyes, don't you think?
She was. Yeah, of course she was.
Of course she was. I was worried at this point.
And in all honesty, half brother, you know, I think that's a big enough loophole for Sharon. I don't think she's going to be that bothered. To be fair. But yeah, so Zack winds up Gavin's family, who are basically all really kind of like, let's use the word. They all look like gangsters, and winds up the family, makes a run for it, sticks a broom in the door handle, and then runs away. And then Kathy goes, right, let's go. We've no idea how Kathy and Sharon get out of the room or anything like that. But then the next time we see Sharon, she's swiped Gavin's ashes.
I know. I was so confused when that scene. I loved the scene. I have to admit, it's just the force that she threw Gavin's ashes into the bin. It's like
it's brilliant.
And she had to slap her hands afterwards as well. That would have been brilliant if she'd finished it like, job well done.
Yeah. I love it when Letitia Dean throws things because she does it with such effort.
Oh, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Lobbed it into the bin. There's a great gif going around somewhere of it. Do look out for it because it's brilliant. And then they go to the car. This was a bit confusing. They find the window open to their car.
Yes.
And Sharon, being Sharon, you know, she's been around the block. Yeah. She's like, this ain't her first rodeo. So she knows exactly what's gone on here. They get in the car and sort of sit there calmly. And then Zack appears from behind them in the back going, shh, I'm hiding from Gavin's family. Now, how did Zack know that was their car? Had he seen them arrive? Had he just decided that was a great car to sit in? That looks nice. I'll hide from Gavin's family in that.
I mean, why didn't he just get? I mean, they were presumed that they weren't in the car park the moment he ran out the door and put the broom into the handles. So all the family that he was hiding from wouldn't have been near his car, which is the reason why he was hiding in Kathy's car in the first place. So surely he could have just driven away.
You'd have thought so. But anyway, so Sharon and Kathy, you know, keep quiet and just sort of watch as Gavin's family demolish Zack's car.
Yeah.
You know, smashing the wind mirror and all this sort of thing.
Wait, the thing is, you saw again. I loved the fact that because it was obviously BBC budget time, they could afford a windscreen. That's fine. But any other damage to that car, any other damage to that car.
Do you know the price of wing mirrors?
Oh, I do, trust me. But like any other damage on that car, on the bonnet, on the wing mirror, as you say,
none of that.
That's not going on screen. That is not going on screen. So so I loved it. That it was almost narrated by Sharon, wasn't it? She like, oh, there goes the wing mirror.
Yeah. Oh, there goes your wing mirror. Oh, there goes your other wing mirror. Oh, and a headlight.
And you just saw them kind of go, ooh, ah, ee, as they were happening.
Yeah.
You know, it was a great moment. I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it, the scene so much.
It was one of those camp fun scenes, wasn't it? And then it's revealed, because Kathy turns around and says, who are you anyway? And, how did you know Gavin? And Zack reveals that Gavin was her father, leaving Sharon stunned in her iconic funeral beret. Stunned. As she realises that she is in fact looking at her half brother. Duff, 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 duff.
A deserved duff, duff. That was the duff, duff of the year so far. That was a good.
It was a good duff, duff.
Top class duff.
So, Zack, what are our thoughts? Got to say, I liked him.
No, I didn't mind him, actually. I really did. He came in with a bang, which is what I like for a character to do. The actor playing him he seemed quite competent. He looked like he was having fun in the role as well, which was nice. I
liked him.
He was almost a very standard, generic kind of EastEnders character, I must admit. He reminded me a bit of like Alfie Moon, kind of like a bit cheeky, chappy, which I thought was going to be Sonia's dad's character. So I'm presuming then his character is going to be a little bit more different to what we kind of threw guesses out at a few weeks ago. I mean, I'm guessing that he's going to move to the square and there's going to be a kind of a development between Sharon, because she never did phone her brother, did she? She got the number from Kathy. Kathy's sevens, by the way, are very suspect. I don't like her sevens. They look like ones. I was not impressed. Yeah, sorry, just a little thing.
See, that's how mistakes are made. That's how that's how that whole thing with Kush went wrong, wasn't it? Confusing B's for sevens and all of that sort of thing. Yes. Be careful with that, Kathy. I mean, I quite liked him. I thought that it was one of the best new entrances, like initial sort of first appearances for a clearly new character that we've had for quite a while. Because I was instantly sort of like, you're quite fun. I like you. Because I thought when they released pictures of him, I thought, oh, you're going to be like one of those sort of Jake Moon type characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just got that kind of vibe from him that we've seen in EastEnders so many times over the years, and he seems to be once we get over this sort of him running away from Gavin's family story and he's settled in as a character, I think we're going to have a fairly sort of Jack the Lad, like you say, a young Alfie basically, which is a nice hole to fill, and frankly it means that Alfie doesn't need to come back, which I'm more than happy about, to be honest. Controversial opinion, I know.
No, I agree. They ruined Alfie. We've talked about it on numerous occasions on the show.
I'm looking forward to seeing more of Zack. Clearly Sharon is going to ring him at some point because the thing is, Sharon's moving out of the Vic this week.
Yeah, they're doing a flat swap, aren't they? So the Carters are moving into the Vic and she's moving into their old flat.
But it's like the way that they did it. It's like I was talking to Sharon about it, and Sharon was like, so talk to the estate agent. Turns out Mick and Linda's flat's free.
Yeah.
Who knew? Wonder where they're going. Like, what? Why don't they just swap flats? That would make so much more sense, rather than doing it through an estate agent and making it sound like there's some big old coinky-dink that both of them have got free like locations going. But anyway,
are you sad? Are you sad that Sharon's leaving? Are you sad because
I am?
Yeah, because a lot of people have said that was a real it was almost like a one and done story for that, and it's kind of a bit of a wasted opportunity.
I mean, there's a few issues I have with it. I think I said a lot of this last week, but I think it's a big waste for a start. Because we've never really had Sharon. Whenever Sharon's behind the bar of the Vic as owner, she's always doing it for a story reason rather than for a new direction for Sharon to go in.
Yeah.
The first time she came back, she was behind there. When she did the whole "Hello, Peggy, thought you'd never see me again," just to bring her back, and then that all sort of happened as it did. This time, it was literally just for the Ian story to play out, and immediately after that's finished, Nick and Linda are moving back in again. It's kind of, and again, Nick and Linda, it still puzzles me as to why they'd want to move back into the pub when the whole point, whether they left, was because Linda's an alcoholic. Like, it makes no sense to me whatsoever. But, maybe they'll address that. Let's hope they do. So no, I am sad that Sharon's leaving because I think that she works behind there, but I just don't, but she needs the stories behind there. She needs to have, sort of iconic landlady moments and all that sort of thing. She doesn't get any of that.
No, I wonder if it is also that Letitia Dean although she has a few stories kind of front and centre, and obviously this Zack finding her half-brother is going to be a big story for her, I can't help but think that perhaps she was a bit like... Because when you're the landlord or landlady of the Vic, because so many things happen in the Vic, you are in a lot of scenes. Normally you are anyway. You're at least in the background, like kind of just serving. So you're always needed on set. And I wonder if Letitia Dean was a bit like... Nah, not for me.
You think she was like, can't be asked? No, you're all right.
No. Do you not? I wouldn't blame her either. I genuinely wouldn't blame her.
No, I don't think so. No. I think it was more... I mean, to be fair, we're also in the middle of a pandemic, which means that... I know this seems to be our excuse for everything, but to be fair, they can't really do the big iconic Vic scenes where the pub's full and some big revelation is happening, because you can't really fill the pub at the minute. But so the Vic has sort of taken a back step to... one of the big locations on the square at the minute, hasn't it?
That's true. But then that's not really an excuse to then say Sharon should have stayed in the pub. Using my theory, to go, oh, Sharon should have stayed because, she wouldn't have had to work that hard anyway. I just wonder if there was that kind of an inkling, like she was a bit like, I'll do that ridiculous story where we do the Ian whodunit, storyline, but after that I don't really want to be that involved with the Vic anymore. I don't know.
I doubt it, but maybe you're right. But no.
You might be right, but you're not, is your answer.
But effectively, yeah. Meanwhile, Kim is trying to sort out this big old party for Sharon because Sharon needs a massive leaving party, but also Kim sees it as an opportunity to build up Foxcatcher, which this has run for way longer than I thought it was going to. Kim's dating agency, which she
said this week that she said is failing, so I'm presuming it's not. But then again, that was for a moment for kind of Sharon and Kim to kind of reassess their lives, wasn't it? They were both upstairs in the Vic. Sharon's now starting again after getting the Vic and now losing it again. And Kim thought that she could use this app as a kind of way of rejuvenating her life, but it's not really worked out the way she thought it was going to work out. So they both kind of conceded that it's a fresh start again from this moment onward. But I did love Kim's MC skills. I mean, I'm thinking that this might be the beginning of perhaps Kim becomes a party planner, maybe.
DJ Kim.
I think that would work for Kim. She likes organising things, doesn't she? Like she likes organising relationships. So if she put that kind of workload into kind of organising parties, I kind of think that would work quite nicely. Because that's almost how Ruby was introduced, wasn't she? She was a Ruby Slipper Productions.
She was a wedding planner, wasn't she?
Yeah. And she had lots of reviews on Facebook, so she did.
She did. This is the thing. The thing is, Kim likes being the face of things, doesn't she? She likes being responsible for things. She likes having the credit for when things go right, essentially, doesn't she? And in Kim's optimistic mind, nothing under her supervision will ever go wrong. No. So which is why she's it's so much fun to watch Kim kind of fall flat on her face. I mean, I think that this whole dating thing would have been interesting. And to be fair, we've seen her get Lola and Isaac together, and effectively Kim is half responsible for Ash and Peter getting together because she was just pushing them together. So, and fully blame Kim for this. But she's actually not that bad at the whole matchmaking thing. If I was living on the square, I'd ask him to set me up with somebody.
But I feel like this was like almost a fresh sheet for Kim and Sharon, and I liked the friendship between them too. There was a kind of like a cheeky friendship between them. We've seen a few times that there seems to be a few. It's almost like the writers are kind of like testing friendships on screen and seeing how they work out. There was Jean and Sharon. And
I'm all for this because one thing I really miss at the minute is friendships in the square. It's
agree.
Like you either hate each other or you're sleeping with each other, or you're related to each other. It's like there doesn't seem to be many sort of friendships in the square at the minute. Because I mean, to be fair, how many people in Albert Square would you want to be friends with? But they are all stuck together. It's all about character development, isn't it? It's all about like the basic sort of establishing relationships between characters. I remember you remember the days when Phil and Nigel were best mates. Phil hasn't got who's friends with Phil at the minute. Like, has he got any mates at the moment? He hasn't really, has he? So you've got people that sort of nod at him in the street, but he's nobody that you could say, he's Phil's mate.
Well, people fear him, don't they, rather than like him? So he gets respect through fear rather than through, being a friendly guy.
Exactly.
You wouldn't ask Phil for a cup of sugar, but you would ask Phil for a heist.
I'm all for them building up friendships, and Sharon is a good character to be friends with, isn't she? Drunk Sharon is always fun.
Ian might have something to say with that comment.
Well, yeah, but we'll deal with Ian when he gets back. Yeah, I think that's about all of his story, isn't it?
We are going to read some of your comments on our social media on I Want to Gossip.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So this week's we've got a few little comments from our listeners. Trudy Barry says, I'm really enjoying seeing Sharon interacting with the women on the square. Jean a couple of weeks ago, and now Kim, and even a thawing on the Kathy cold front. Sometimes I forget how much fun she is. Though I'm surprised she didn't get a chance to Zack before the brother reveal. She does have form in the area. To be fair, I think we were all expecting it.
No, we really were. I was really keeping an eye out on whether Sharon was looking for the nearest toilet cubicle, just so she can wink at Zack and then walk in.
Looking for the nearest kitchen table to take him on. Bless her. Dirty mare. Although to be fair, I think Zack's maybe got a bit too much hair. You know, she's got kind of a thing for shaved-headed men.
Yeah,
and
she does
men,
like bold men,
So,
doesn't she? That's true. Although
too much hair
don't forget when she was with her adopted brother Dennis. When she was with Dennis, he had a lot of hair. He's got loads of hair now. The actor. Have you seen him?
He has.
He's
He's
like a horse's mane.
You're obsessed with horses.
I am today.
Richard Gold says, I think it's been a stronger week overall. I really liked having an episode with Kathy and Sharon together and not just sniping at each other, and it was a good intro for Zack, who I'm looking forward to seeing more of. But also, regarding the wedding, there's an article going around, doing the rounds, which you might sort of expect from this sort of story, but there is a rumour saying about Grant possibly returning for Ben and Callum's wedding in EastEnders.
Yes, I've heard that too. I've heard that.
I don't know if I believe that, to be fair. It just seems to basically just be speculation, because big wedding, you want to bring back as many people as possible. But...
Yeah, I can't see why Grant would come back for Ben's wedding, if that makes sense.
For a gay wedding, let's be fair.
Yeah. I don't think Grant would have a problem necessarily with that, but I just don't know. I don't think... I mean, I would love it if they brought back Courtney. If Courtney came back with Grant, that would be fun. I'd enjoy that. But... I can't feasibly think that Grant would leave. Where is he living now? Barbados, isn't it? He lives in all...
Barbados.
Don't start. Right. I don't know where Grant is living right now, but I just can't think
Barbados
feasibly.
Or something like that,
maybe, but I can't feasibly believe that he would come back.
Look at you pretending like you said it normally.
I did. Final tweet then to round up the show from @Luzzen720 says, Bronson the dog was more interesting than the Lucas storyline. And with that, Rob,
on that note,
how can people get in touch with us?
Contact us on Twitter, Instagram, on @WalfordWeekly. You find us on Facebook @WalfordWeekly Podcast. On YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to get notifications about our spoiler videos. And you can listen to us on Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or any of your favourite podcast sites. We will be back next week. And until then, we both bid you farewell.